Ghana cedis. You can grab a copy, or you might as well log on to the insidenewsonline.com. And the banner headline says that impasse over anti-LGBTQ bill, declaration of 4 seats vacant. Alban Bagbin accuses Akufo-Addo judiciary of violating constitution, and we know that different assertions by the speaker yesterday when he took the floor to address what's happening between the legislative environment or the legislature and the judiciary. He also went on to say that there's no constitutional crisis, and therefore Ghanaians shouldn't heed to that idea that there have been some constitutional crisis. But he has accused the judiciary and also Akufo-Addo of violating the constitution. In other news, election 2024, Alliance of Feminist CSOs examines chances of women in upcoming polls. Also, peace plan for Alavanyo Nkonya conflict unveiled at last as Abraham Kluche's peace dossier chronicles events and achieves results. Right. Also, Bawumia used rented crowd in Volta region campaign, says Ho West MP. Ni Akobwa Aboshi I installed as principal head of Ni Sape Abuchi family. 1 month into expansion of Israel's war on Lebanon. And here stories trending on today's edition of the Insight newspaper. Now let's move on. What other newspapers do we have? Let's do the business analysts celebrating 40 years of Farmers' Day. The ADB story also. IEA slams BOG over gold coin. Demands permanent solutions to cedi instability. And the other stories featuring on the right of the business analyst says inflation hits 22.1% in October. Power and Energy Ghana Expo kicks off. Cocoa farmers in Ghana hoard beans in anticipation of price hike. And here are stories featuring on today's edition of the business analyst. Moving on, what do we have next? Now, to the anchor, says that ILAPI uncovers 167.8 million Ghana cedis, 14.6 million US dollars in dormant accounts with BOG. Also, Samjona proposes 1-year military service for graduates. Very interesting. I think that's a laudable idea. I will buy into that absolutely, just like it's done in South Korea. Every graduate should have some military training. I think it will reform and reshape our thinking, our mentality, and structure our perspective to, building a better Ghana. Yeah, I believe so. I really agree with the proposal of Samjona. But in other stories, Speaker Badwin takes on judiciary. Executive says there is no constitutional crisis in Ghana, as I earlier mentioned. Also breaking down Godeke, Bando pontoon still not fixed. And here are stories on the front page of today's edition of The Anchor. Let's do the political digest. It is possible to read authentic news, and that's what they proclaim. Right, unite and vote for NPP. Also, work done by NPP will win December 7 election, not insults. This is according to the Vice President Bawumia. NPP hits Cashew Farmers Learning Center. Hints, right, Cashew Farmers Learning Center. And Kennedy, Japan wants NPP against complacency. The political digest. Let's do the daily graphic. Shift to holistic education. Also, petroleum rakes in 840.77 million USD half year. Special supplements on Farmers' Day. No constitutional crisis. Speaker of Parliament assures nation. And the man of the moment, Donald Trump, is featuring on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Congratulations to the 47th president of the United States of America. Of course, this is a second coming of Donald Trump, and it places him as the 47th president of the USA. Big congratulations to him. All right, these are stories featuring on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Moving on to the Daily Guide newspaper. Now it says, I'll establish tomato factory at AGYEKUM, says Bawumia. Also, Nana elevate 15 assemblies. The banner headline, though, EC presents certified voters register to parties, and also no constitutional crisis that the right speaker, right honorable speaker of Parliament asserts concerning what's happening between legislature and the judiciary. And of course, the man of the moment also featuring on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Trump sweeps U.S. elections. Now to the daybreak. Kumasi Brewery collapsed under your watch. Akufo-Addo Jabs Mahama. Also, Orleans Lindsay inaugurated as first Chancellor of Cape Coast Technical University. Also, Bawumia engages parents on November 10. South African behind 45 million US dollar scandal in Ghana. And coming up, Consolidated Bank of Ghana in disarray because of power play among top officials. Right, today's edition of the Daybreak. Let's do the Supreme newspaper. There's no constitutional crisis, according to Bagbin. Ghana begins insurance of FLEGT, FLEGT, I suppose. Licensing on June 30, 2025. Bawumia is Ghana's best bet for President. Rebecca Akufo-Addo also boasts clears 384 million Ghana cedis debt as it not sure what these words are, as a Clark's strategic path for revival and growth, right? 5.7 million students benefit from free SHS since 2017. Right, let's move on. Let's do the press reporter. Chinese Ambassadors Award, more than 200 Ghanaian students honored, okay? Right, Koika partners mark 2024 International Volunteer Day in Dowinya, right? And these are stories and many others trending on the front page of the Reporter. Is that the only we have? Right. Now to the Daily Searchlight. On the top left corner, you see it says that Ghana to issue forest law licenses. Also, high-handed Bagbin slums judiciary executive over interference. I'm not sure why the caption is high-handed. He just made a statement, or he stated what he thinks is an issue when it comes to the judiciary and the executive, but addressing him or tagging him to be high-handed, this gives me an impression that the Daily Searchlight, okay, let me just hold my horses. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But pressing the breasts of girls is a barbaric practice. Dr. Riafe, barbaric practice I concur to. Electoral Commission presents clean voters register to parties. And finally, on the front page of today's edition of the Daily Searchlight, BOST initiates major depot upgrades to improve operational efficiency. These are stories on the front page of today's edition of the Daily Searchlight. All right, so this happens to be the last paper we have in hand, and it's always a pleasure running you through what's trending on the various newspapers. But Parliament in Focus is up next with our parliamentary correspondent, Gregory Pilkington Amwa. He brings us up to speed with what's happening in Parliament, including the statements or remarks made by Right Honourable Speaker Alban Bagwin. Do stay.
Stay refreshed with malt. Prepare for hydration.
The law is pertinent to every aspect of our lives, and so lawyers must not be the backup plan for the rainy day only.
Nothing received from a client should be put in a lawyer's personal account until such time that the money has actually been earned.
It is very dangerous to perpetuate the theory that it is narcotics that leads to crime increase.
The relevance of the law cuts across our business, social, and family transactions. Without this,
you can't borrow from somebody who's your client. That would lead to a conflict situation. And that's something that as a lawyer you must jealously guard when you are representing a client.
You have to register your Mohammedan marriage within 7 days.
Within a week of the celebration of the marriage.
So if you don't register it, it's not a valid marriage. Journey with our Law Express panel every week as we confirm the place of the law in our everyday transactions.
Under etiquette rules, a lawyer can terminate for non-payment of fees. So basically, if you don't pay your fees, a lawyer has a right to terminate your engagement.
Grant us a vision of our country, where as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace.
Focus on the Good Morning Africa show on Pan-African Television with me, Gregory Pilkington Amwa. On this segment of the show, we demystify Parliament's oversight, legislative and representative mandates. Now, ahead of the extraordinary sitting of Parliament today, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, met with the press to have an engagement as part of his efforts to give an appraisal on the state of Parliament and some other matters emanating over the past few years and also the past few weeks. Now, one of the major takeaways of the Right Honourable Speaker's address to the media and to an extent the Ghanaian people yesterday was the fact that he felt, or he feels, that the executive arm of government as well as the judiciary are colluding to undermine the authority of Parliament. Now, he believes this is because of a plethora of suits and injunction applications that have sought to halt proceedings of Parliament many times, predominantly what occurred the past few weeks where the Speaker declared some 4 seats vacant in Parliament, which led to an action by the leader of the NPP caucus in Parliament, Honorable Alexander Kwame Afenyo-Markin, seeking a court order to stay the execution of the Speaker's declaration. Now, he believes these, as well as other actions over the past few weeks, which have led to Parliament proceeding on an indefinite adjournment, are part of efforts seeking to undermine the authority of Parliament, and this, he believes, is being perpetrated by the executive and the judiciary. He believes the Constitution of Ghana is supreme, but the judiciary is not supreme. Let's listen to the Right Honourable Speaker as he made these comments.
A country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with.
Ladies and gentlemen, recent acts of the judiciary and executive, and I see them as interference in the workings of Parliament, pose a direct challenge to the essence, jurisdiction, authority, powers, and functioning of the esteemed institution of Parliament, which is the repository of the sovereign will of the people of Ghana. It is increasingly becoming clear the judiciary and the executive are seemingly colluding to weaken Parliament. The decision of the Ghanaian voters in the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections is clear and loud to all discerning people. The decision is obviously a preference for a consensual and collaborative governance to a winner-take-all government. The majoritarian system of Parliament, where the minority have a say, but the majority have its way, was rejected by the voters. They rather opted for inclusivity, collaboration, consensus building, leaving nobody behind. The equal representation of the 2 major parties in Ghana, resulting in the composition of a hung parliament, to the voters is the better way forward for our dear nation. The expectation of the voters is this will lead to the constitution of a parliament where the national interest will prevail as against partisan or parochial interests. The judiciary is supportive of this conduct by the receipt and processing of a suit on this subject matter. These are dangerous precedents in our democratic journey. Both the president and the judiciary have sinned against the Constitution and must seek the opportunity to confess and repent.
Now, if you cast your mind back to the proceedings of courts last week when the Apex Court, entertained an application by the Speaker seeking to set aside its stay of execution order on his declaration of some 4 seats as vacant in Parliament, the Chief Justice made a profound statement that there was a constitutional crisis. Well, the Speaker disagrees with this. He believes Parliament proceeded on adjournment because the House lacked quorum to do business, and that influences decision to adjourn sine die. Now, he believes characterizing what is transpiring in Parliament as a standoff or as a constitutional crisis amounts to fear-mongering, and he further criticized members of Parliament, especially those in leadership, who continuously use the Supreme Court as an avenue or as a machinery to halt Parliament from doing its duties as people who have orchestrated the downfall of Parliament. And let's listen to the Speaker as he made these statements as well.
A crisis in this country. I repeat, there is no constitutional crisis in this country. The Parliament of Ghana is alive and working. Let nobody mislead, misinform, or disinform you and the country. The democratic system we adopted and enacted, as captured in the Constitution 1992 and fleshed out in various laws, processes, procedures, and practices, is what has been triggered, and it is working. Let us allow it to work. The court must, and has always been, hesitant to interfere in the proceedings and decisions of Parliament. In the celebrated case of Tufo versus the Attorney General, the Supreme Court affirmed that happenings in Parliament are a closed book. Despite these provisions, the courts are replete with debates and proceedings of Parliament. Most worrying is these proceedings are initiated by some members of Parliament, even leaders of Parliament, who ought to know better. Parliamentarians who are to be loyal to Parliament rather than to the Supreme Court run to the Supreme Court at the slightest opportunity to use the Supreme Court to undermine Parliament. This might be one of the reasons Parliament and members of Parliament are not respected and treated with disdain.
The address by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, the NDC group in Parliament also requisitioned the meeting with the press, where they also laid bare a few issues. Now, they are affirming that when Parliament sits today, November 7th, 2024, they will still occupy majority, because by the declaration of the Speaker, they remain majority in Parliament. Now, they are saying that this means government must bring its business to their caucus to conduct on their behalf. They also shut down claims that they are undermining or they are sabotaging government. Now, they believe that over the course of the 8th Parliament, the NDC MPs have consistently been present in the House to do government business, and that has been evident in their numbers every time bills and other proposals, government businesses are brought to the floor of the House. They are saying that what they will not condone is any business of government that exacerbates the living condition of Ghanaians. Let's listen to Kwame Gavin Sagboja, who is chief whip of that group, an MP for AGYEKUM, as he made these profound statements.
As a result of the directive of Mr. Speaker, in line with the Constitution and standing orders, the majority NDC shall attend upon the House at appropriate time as directed by Mr. Speaker. We shall take our rightful place in the chamber as to where we sit, and wait for whatever businesses that may come in front of us. Our advice to our colleagues in the minority MPP is to try and prioritize business that is in the interest of the people of this country, and they shall find favor and cooperation with us in time to deal with those businesses. We can assure them that as long as the business is in the interest of improving the lot of Ghanaians, they can count on the majority NDC caucus in Parliament to support those initiatives to pass those the things that would help the people of this country. The record in the House suggests that for a very long period of time, if you check the numbers of colleagues in the House, at any time that a bill or something is tabled, it is more likely to see the NDC members in a higher number than the NPP. So the record is that we have actually supported government business, and Mr. Speaker's press conference here is an indication of that, that we have actually cooperated with the NPP side on many things, whether there are loans, there are bills. So there's no evidence that the NDC actually frustrates anything. What we would not tolerate is any bill that is intended to deepen the hardship on the people of this country. I think the Constitution and the people of this country do not expect that we should actually support any bill that will make life even more difficult for them. So as long as the bill is in the interest of improving the lot of Ghanaians, you can count on us to be in support of that.
Well, this has been Parliament in Focus with me, Gregory Pilkington. Amma will bring you up to speed on whatever transpires in Parliament as the House is requisitioned for an extraordinary meeting this morning, November 7, 2024. Up next is the newspaper review segment of the show with OHEMAA AGYEKUM and her guest. Do stay and have a lovely Thursday morning.
A country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor. A country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with. A country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving. A country of peace, grant us a vision of our country, where